Ah, damn, honestly, you guys, that was frustrating. If you're asking me at the start of the game, is this game going to end scoreless? I wouldn't have believed you. I felt like, against a team like Leeds that likes to attack, that leaves spaces, a team that we convincingly beat with a very good performance back in December, I felt like this game had goals in it. Was that the case? Clearly not. And I guess at this point in time, is it worth having debates and discussions within ourselves now in regards to our attacking quality, our attacking efficiency, and our chances created too? Now, of course, we cannot, diminish the amazing job Tuchel's done. And of course, there's context. I'm going to stress the context immediately. And that's the fact that Tuchel has come during halfway through a season. Of course, the team, the squad, I'm sure, is not in his exact image at this point in time. And of course, it's about finding that balancing act. Now, no surprise to me that Tuchel will have his own difficulties with his team because, for me personally, this team, this entire squad, is full of like two different teams. Teams that are suited towards that short passing possession game, and another team that likes to run in behind, that needs balls played over the top, that needs balls played quickly. And I feel like finding this balancing act has been one of the biggest struggles throughout this entire season. And I feel like this is a struggle that will continue to go on. Now, of course, Tuchel's come in, he's done what he has to do. The results have been incredible, they have been impressive. But disregarding them for a second and focusing on our attacking play in those games, has it been at the level that we were expecting? Of course, during the time when we had a ridiculous summer spending spree, I'm not too sure in my personal opinion. Of course, results have been decided by impressive moments and situations. You look at Giroud's ridiculous bicycle kick, Mount's goal versus Liverpool, a few more games like this, and when you break down the games and the chances we're creating, I think the stats are actually showing from the XG value that our XG values are very low in these games. We're not creating consistent quality opportunities from good shot scoring areas. That just is not happening yet in Tuchel's system. And for me, in this game today, when I saw the lineup that Tuchel started with, for me, it felt like this is clearly something that Tuchel himself knows. I think today, this is why we saw a very offensive variation on the 3-4-2-1 system, where we saw Pulisic playing as a right wing back in this game today. We saw Ziyech back in the team, and I'm sure that, Tuchel is really relying upon Ziyech. He wants him to step up because this is a player that gets double digits for goals and assists consecutively for God knows how many seasons. So, he can provide a lot to this team. But in the same time, it's about finding that balancing act. And I think with the team so far, from the defence to the midfield, the balance is there. However, when it comes to what we do in our opponent's half, offensively, I feel like it just is not there at this point in time. Now, as I stressed, this was a very attacking variation on the back three system. Now, there was some confusion in regards to the formation we were actually using in the game, with many people feeling like we were using a back four system. Now, if we look at the games that we've been playing under Tuchel, we've always kind of played with this type of fluidity. Azpilicueta will push up to make like a makeshift fullback. Rudiger will move wide as well. The wing-back will push up as well. And it does become like a 4-2-3-1 in that sense. And it makes a ton of sense why this was the plan today. Because if you're using Pulisic, you know that when it comes to his ability to, play with his back to goal, his ability to shield the ball too. Because of course, if you're receiving out wide as a wing-back in those areas, a lot of times you have the opposition guy coming from behind you. And this means that the player needs to have the upper body strength to be able to maintain possession, of course, when getting pressed in those areas. So this is why throughout the game today, we saw Pulisic receiving the ball more in fields with Aspi moving out wide. And the reason for that, of course, is because there was space in field for Pulisic to receive and turn, which he would not get playing really wide in those areas. So yes, this is what managers do. You need to cater towards the players at your disposal. You need to make those tweaks to get the very best out of them. And for me, I'm going to talk about some of the key players and talking points in the game today. I thought Pulisic was decent today, for sure. Especially in the first 30 minutes. Extremely explosive. Some really good cutback crosses he was creating. He was direct. He was looking to take his man on and, of course, really stretch Leeds. And no surprise, in those opening 30 minutes, I felt we looked at our very best throughout this entire game. You found Kai Havertz with a few cutbacks. You're hoping that Kai would do a bit better. However, in regards to our chance creation, it felt like we were quite limited. Not that creative. It was either things coming from outside the box from long shots, or it was coming from the right hand side with crosses inside the box. And I feel like we need to improve on this because in football, these results won't last forever. Many factors have played towards our favour, luck, opposition, and of course, the great form and the great tactical instructions that Tuchel has instilled in this team. We need to go to the next level. Tuchel knows this, and I'm sure that in the next few games, we are going to see more variations of players playing in attack and more tactical tweaks Tuchel's going to make to try and make us better offensively and better creatively. This was the same 3-4-3, the same way we play it. It does translate into like a 4-2-3-1 offensively. But as I said, it was just more small tweaks made in game to allow us to, maintain that same shape when we were attacking Leeds. Anyway, you guys, now that we've discussed some of the tactics behind the game, some of the decision making from Tuchel, let's focus on the performances from certain players today. And even though this game was quite disappointing, I think one standout in the game today was Edouard Mendy. Now, I've been saying, for me, one of the best keepers in the Premier League. A keeper for a club like us, where you're not facing many shots consistently, it's what you do in those moments where you're untested and then you're called to action. Mendy made 2 outstanding saves in this game today. They looked like Leeds had the opportunity to score from them, and Mendy stood out and Mendy stood up. I know that some people feel like we need to still sign like a Donnarumma or go on the market to sign a new goalkeeper, but I feel like if we sign a Donnarumma, for example, and he had the same exact performances that Mendy has had this season, people would be saying that he's world class and what a signing, what a bargain. I feel like we need to respect this guy. He's a great keeper. He's stepped up and shown that he's easily good enough. He's given confidence to our defence and vice versa. And for me, this guy can easily be our long-term goalkeeper for the next few years. So he was one positive. Another big positive today was N'Golo Kante. Now, a part of me was feeling okay. It would have been sick to see him and Cover playing midfield together, but from Tuchel's perspective, I understood why that was not the case because, Kante was tasked with having to leave his position and carry the ball further up. We know that Cover does the same thing, and the last thing you want is to have that, miscommunication between both, where there's this massive space left in the middle. So today, Kante was at his imperious best, as he tends to be. I don't know why these performances go unnoticed. Why the praise is very quiet. He won every single tackle, every single interception. He was starting attacks as well. He was keeping that tempo going. He was playing all over the midfield, and considering that, he had to put in such a big defensive shift to make up for the lack of maybe defensive ability from Pulisic playing as a wing-back. This is a typical Kante performance, and for me, this guy is utterly unreal and needs to get more respect because there's not many players of world football that can do what N'Golo Kante does. Another player worth discussing is Kai Havertz, and I felt like him playing as a false 9 today. He looked very dangerous and was causing Leeds a lot of issues. Now, his ability to play off the Leeds defence meant that they had no one to mark, and time again, he was finding himself in very good positions inside the box. And on another day, with his confidence being better on goal, I feel like he gets a goal in this game, and the entire complexion of the game changes in our favour. And regardless though, his finishing was not on it today, and I just felt like as the game went on, he got more quieter, and I'm going to discuss why exactly that was the case. However, is this an example of why maybe we should not use Kai now, play Giroud up front? I don't think so. I think that what we need right now is to build some sense of attacking consistency. So many different attacking lineups. How are players able to understand each other's game and build those patterns, build those relationships? We need to start seeing that now, in my personal opinion. And I think now I want to discuss some of the decision making in the game today. Now, I don't know, I felt like as the game was going on, we kind of wasted the second half. And I feel like sometimes under Tuchel, it feels like there's halves where we win the game and halves where we kind of do nothing and just kind of, just do the same thing and the same thing. For me, this was a prime opportunity for Tuchel to have changed the formation, make us a back four, make us a 4-3-3 team, or even, a 4-2-3-1, have another player in Leeds half, putting more pressure there, being an option for passes, just creating more threat. I feel like that's what we needed, and instead Tuchel just kind of maintained the same formation, changed the personnel, and it's no surprise why as the game was going on, we kind of did nothing and didn't create opportunities. I feel like it was a massive waste. A bit of bravery in that sense could have been key against the Leeds team where, they left spaces, there was opportunities where bravery could have been profited from. I'm just hoping that as the season goes on, I've got the vibe that back three is not a system that's going to lead towards many goals. I think it's quite, it's quite fair to assume this right now. We spent a ton of money on attacking players, and, all this talks of signing Erling Haaland. Imagine he's playing in this team. I mean, what service is this guy getting? Absolutely nothing. I think that's the reality in which we have to see this right now. And I just feel like now is a time where if there's plans to try and win the league next season, it's not going to work if there's no frame of reference in attack. I mean, for example, you look at a Liverpool team, you see how, they were able to improve, season on season on season. One of the key things to get right was their attacking play and attacking build-up, because it's easier to coach your defense, it's easier to coach your pragmatism, but to coach the offense is a lot harder. Can Tuchel not do that? I mean, of course the guy can. You look at his Dortmund teams, you look at his Paris Saint-Germain teams, goals. It's going to come, but I feel like now is a time for Tuchel to be a bit more assertive in his decision making and try and be, more forceful in helping us get these goals, because the reality is, teams have great form around us. It's not like we're clear when it comes to the top four. We only have 11 games left, and anything can happen in the Premier League. I think now's the best time to start safeguarding ourselves, try to separate ourselves from the pack, because today we saw every single one of our attacking players, Hudson-Odoi, Werner, Ziyech, Mount, Kai, etc., and nothing really happened from an offensive point of view. But you guys, they were my observations of the game today. There is going to be a player ratings video coming out where I'm going to discuss every player's performance in great detail, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. But on that note, comment below, how did you feel about this game? Do you feel like we are starting to struggle offensively? Let us know. I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lions TV. Bring on that lady, and I'll see you guys next time.